I'm Shay Russell for mining.com.au, and joining me today is the Managing Director of Unico Silver, Todd Williams. Todd, how are you?
Good morning, Shay. Thanks for having me this morning.
Pleasure to have you on. Always keen to talk all things silver, especially when it's positive for silver. Now, I wanted to bring you on because there's been some exciting developments in your projects out in Argentina. First and foremost, I think I should congratulate you and the company on successfully raising $8 million in a capital raise. Congratulations. That's no mean feat in this market. Can you talk me through the details?
Yeah, absolutely. We're, obviously very impressed and pleased with the support that we had from existing shareholders and new and existing institutional shareholders. So it was great to, have that support from the register and introduce some new names into the company. But I think the key highlights is that the placement was really to create a foundation for us to not only close this transformational Joaquin acquisition that we announced Tuesday, but also leave us well funded to make sure that we can accelerate our growth plans, which includes drilling hopefully as soon as next month.
Ooh, I'm going to get to those drilling plans in just a moment. First of all, let's introduce some of your projects to the mining.com.au audience. Now, you do have two main projects out in Argentina. Can you give me a rundown of both of them?
Yeah, sure. So maybe we'll just start from where we were. Start from inception, November 2020. So we started off as a small junior explorer, $5 million market cap explorer, and we actually moved into Santa Cruz with the aspirations of making a major greenfields discovery. And so in November 2020, we put out some really exciting drill results, which put us on the map. That enabled us to capitalise the business and have circa $15 million cash in the bank. And then in July 2022, the market just completely blew up. As you remember, gold equities fell sort of 70, 80% on average. And we were sort of left in a situation where we had to choose whether we continued to explore or really shifted our strategic direction around using the capital we had to become a consolidator in the region. And so what we did is in November 2022, we announced a transaction with Austral Gold to acquire the Pinguino District. From then, we actually acquired two tertiary projects close to Pinguino. We consolidated 100% ownership of our Constrab project, and then we acquired 100% of Cerro Blanco, which was the western extension of Pinguino. And collectively, we call that Cerro Leon. And so since we consolidated Cerro Leon in November 2022, we've grown the resource from 50 to over 90 million ounces silver equivalent. So that's including the gold and the silver. And then importantly, what we announced on Tuesday was what, we've titled the final critical piece of our regional consolidation strategy, which is the acquisition of the Joaquin District, which is adjacent and to the west of Cerro Leon, and has been held by global major Pan American Silver since 2017. So, look, we're really pleased to get that done. It was a long time in the making. These things don't happen overnight. But what I can say is that, just to sort of summarize our achievements in the past 2 years, what we've done is we've closed 5 separate transactions with 5 separate companies. And we've grown the resource base in a very tough market from just over 10 million ounces silver equivalent to 160 million ounces of silver equivalent. And importantly, we've done that in a very accretive fashion. Our share count since we started this strategy was 200 million shares outstanding, and including the $8 million capital raise and the circa $13 million cash we have in hand, the current shares outstanding is 350. So a more than sort of, let's call it 10, 12 times growth in resources and less than sort of 75% dilution for our shareholders. So, I think the team has done an exceptional job pulling all this together. And now we're really focused on that next phase, which is proving that these assets can grow substantially in terms of total resource ounces.
That's a remarkable achievement to do what you've done in such a short space of time. To grow from 10 million ounces silver equivalent to 160 million silver equivalent ounces is enormous. Uh, this is a very unfair next question. How do you plan to increase the size further from there?
Yeah, look, it's quite simple to be honest. To take a step back, look, the reality is not only do we have 160 million ounces on a silver equivalent basis, which is including the gold and byproducts. What's really interesting about the Joaquin transaction is that it includes, well, it's a pure play silver resource, which means that our total silver, excluding gold and byproducts, is over 100 million ounces, which seems to be that critical threshold to position yourself as, let's call it a globally relevant silver developer. So we feel that this transaction's not only increased our exposure to silver, but it's moved us up into that sort of critical scale, which, there's probably only, two or three companies on the ASX that are of that scale. And what we would like to be distinguished by is our clear, let's call it growth story and exploration upside. But to speak about the potential for further resource growth, I think you only have to look at the nature of the transaction that we've just announced with Pan American Silver. So what's really interesting about that transaction is that the Joaquin Silver District was traditionally divided by a tenement boundary. Pan American Silver owned the district to the north and Yamana owned the district to the south. And so it wasn't until Pan American and Yamana merged in the first quarter of 2023 that these two properties were combined and held by a single company. So it's always been divided by a tenement boundary. Now, to the north, you have 70 million ounces of silver resources, and to the south, you have the exact same geology, and there's over 15,000 metres of drilling, which proves that mineralisation does continue to the southeast into the neighbouring tenement, but it's just never been converted into a JORC 2012 resource. So, for us, what we can clearly point to is, well, the resource growth is going to come from the southern part of the district. And if the northern part hosts 70 million ounces and it all continues straight over the border, then that sort of speaks to the huge potential we have to grow resources in the short, medium and long term.
And taking us back to where we started, you mentioned that you'll be commencing drilling soon. Tell me, what does this drilling program look like, and when will we get a chance to see the results?
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, without confusing the story too much, we are fully permitted at our Cerro Leon resource. So this is the 90 million ounce silver equivalent resource next door to Joaquin. So we received those permits late last month. And so our plan is to get the rigs on site and start moving forward there. We put forward an exploration target range for the Cerro Leon portfolio. That was in May. We announced the target range, which basically provides a really clear pathway on how we plan on doubling the current 90 million ounce silver equivalent resource. And there's a number of structures there that historically have been drilled out at a spacing too broad for JORC compliant resources, which have high grade silver and gold over substantial strike lengths, 6, 7, 800 meters. And so this program will focus firstly on very low risk resource growth, targeting structures where we know there's mineralisation and we can expand that mineralisation. And then as we sort of move beyond that, we'll be looking for more high risk step change discoveries within a vein field that has over 100 linear kilometres of epithermal veins, of which only 25 have been drilled. 25 kilometres have been drilled. So that really speaks to the awesome opportunity we have to grow resources, not only at Cerro Leon, but also Joaquin.
Listen, this is an incredible story unfolding at Unico Silver. Please keep me posted on what comes next. Todd, thank you so much for being here.
Excellent. Thanks, Shay.